Real quick before we get into this video, I'm doing a very small giveaway at the end of this. So stick around for that if you want to get entered to that. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Enjoy. Hey everyone, Richard here. 2020, it's been quite a year. Really good year for collecting from me, but kind of a terrible year in every other category. So it's going to be sort of my recap of pickups this year. I'm breaking into sort of top fives. I saw Kingdom Comics do something similar. I like the format, and that's basically what we're going to do. So we're going to start with stealth buys. This is probably the hardest category for me because I had so many. Like I said, this was a good year, and a lot of my stealth buys kind of fall in the same range of value. So there's some favoritism stuff I just thought was cool going on here. But with that, let's get into it. The first stealth buy, Moon Knight #1, the second print Melee variant. This is a book I had been looking for about 2 years, and I found it for $1 at Goodwill, of all places. Probably a $100 to $150 book, give or take, especially in this condition. This is a really nice copy. So yeah, that's my first stealth buy. Next book is another Goodwill find, also another dollar find. Star Wars Jedi Mace Windu, first appearance of Asajj Ventress. I've basically found every key there is for Asajj Ventress this year, most of them newsstands, so it's just been a good year for her. I can't stand this cover, if I'm honest. I think it's drawn wonky, but I like the character, and to get it for $1, very happy with that one. Alright, so next one, this is actually a very recent find, and it's a very recent book in terms of price blowing up, but Marvel Super Special number 16, The Empire Strikes Back Special. Picked this up for $4, still in the original bag. And in this condition, this is probably a $200 book as of making this video. Whether or not it sticks at that price, it's hard to say. But very happy to get it. First true appearance, if you will, of a whole bunch of Star Wars characters. So definitely a staple for a Star Wars fan. Next up, Fantasy Quarterly #1 featuring ElfQuest. I found this for $1 at a antique mall at the beginning of the year before everything went to hell, essentially. Very high grade. As it stands, it's probably a $200 book, but it's double signed on the first page by both of the creators. So just a really fun stealth buy this year. This is a book I had wanted for a really long time. I never really wanted to shell out the money for it, so to get this one for $1, especially in nice condition because it's essentially all newsprint. It's very cheap paper. Yeah, the top book for me. And then the last stealth buy of the year, arguably one of my best stealth buys ever. I'm counting it as it's 2 books, so I'm counting them together because I found them together. Star Wars, Clone Wars, #1, the standard, and the variant. I'm going to be cracking this one out and setting it to get signed because I think that grade is a little low on it. But yeah, I paid a total of $5 for this one and $9 for this one. Found it at an antique mall in an unsuspecting box. And yeah, my best finds of the year, hands down. And yeah, kind of made my year, kind of set the tone for my year, even though I found it sort of in the middle of the year. But yeah, so that's all my stealth buys. I'll cut away for a second and go grab my next stack. So yeah. All right, so this first one is, well, first of all, this is going to be my top 5, I guess, memorable pickups, for lack of a better term. They're big pickups, but they didn't really fall into the stealth buy category. They don't really fall into my last category, so we're just going to call it memorable. This first one could have easily gone into the stealth buy category, except it was an entire box of stuff that didn't really feel right. This is from my flea market find. I'll leave a link to it somewhere, that I had sort of mid-year, where I found a short box for $20 and had all kinds of really high grade newsstand copies of comics in it. So I grabbed just a selection of them to show. like I said, this could easily be a stealth buy category if it wasn't essentially a whole short box of stuff. But yeah, it was a really fun buy. I still flip through that box every now and then. A bunch of newsstand spawns in the hundreds, and just a very memorable pickup for me. So that's the first one. Next up is this book right here, Amazing Spider-Man 194, recently signed by Al Milgrom. I picked this up in March at the last show of the year, quite literally the day after this show, everything locked down here. I paid $60 for it, so it was relatively cheap to begin with, and then to get it signed and autographed. Very memorable book. Probably one of my favorite Spider-Man books of all time. It's one I like to pick up whenever I see it at a fair price. So there's that. Next up, this was one I picked up very early in the year, and I got it for a very good price, but it wasn't really a stealth buy. I knew what it was. It was probably 40% off of what the expected price of it would be. Amazing Spider-Man number 300. It's a reader copy. It's probably about a 6.0, I would guess. But it's perfect for what I wanted it for, so yeah. Next book, I found this one locally. The main reason I picked it up is because it was signed, and I wanted a signed copy, and the price was just right. Batman 181, signed by Joe Giella, I'm not quite sure how to say his last name, but I sent it off to get it verified this year as well, so yeah. Very underrated Batman key, and yeah, that's another memorable find. And then the last memorable find, which is arguably the most memorable find of the year, I was tempted to call it a stealth buy, but it didn't quite feel right calling it a stealth buy because the seller knew what it was. They were just pricing it really low. And sort of the, I guess, criteria that I keep in mind for stealth buy is the seller doesn't necessarily know the value of what they have or the importance of what they have. But I picked this up for $450 at a little used bookstore. It's Daredevil number 1. I got it graded, obviously, and it came back at 2.5. This was a really great find when I found it, but it's gotten even better since then because this book has definitely taken off in value. And yeah, just one of my favorite pickups this year. Definitely top 5 overall. And yeah, a book I didn't think I would be getting anytime soon because I'm cheap. I don't like shelling out money for things. I very rarely pay full market value for anything, which will lead into our next category. All right, so the last category, top 5 books I paid full market value for. That isn't to say that they're not good deals now, because most of these have actually appreciated in value since I got them, but because I got them at full market value when I picked them up, that's why they're in this category. So first one I got not too long ago, maybe a month or so ago, but Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, number 1. This category was very hard to pick because I don't do a lot of full market value books. So while I got this for a good deal, it wasn't a good enough deal that I thought it was outside of the realm of full market value. Basically got it for 15% less than what you would normally pay for a copy like this. And yeah, it's a book I really needed for a long time. It's one of the frame covers I love to collect, and it was the last one I needed for Luke Cage, so yeah, that got to make the top 5. Next up is a book I picked up very early in the year for fairly cheap, but it was full market value at that time. It's cheap relative to now because this book is another book that has just taken off in value. Avengers number 8, First Appearance of King. Like I said, it was full market value at the time, but this thing's probably tripled in value since then, so very happy to have added that to my collection. That same description basically goes for this book. Got it very close to full market value, maybe a little bit off, but close enough, and then not too long later, it blew up. Amazing Spider-Man number 9, First Appearance of Electro. This is actually a really nice looking copy. The only issue is it has a tear on the inside. But other than that, very, very nice copy. Perfect for my collection, and I'm glad to have bought it when I did. Next book is firmly in my top 5 books I picked up this year, and it is my House of Secrets 92. This book is sort of my redemption story of the year. I sold this a ways back, this exact copy actually a ways back, and I regretted it instantly. And I was browsing, looking at copies, and when I saw this graded copy, I realized it was the same raw copy I had sold. So I had to buy it. I'm calling it full market value, but I probably overpaid by, I don't know, $50 or so. But I needed to have it back, and I'm glad to have it back. Just a really, really sharp copy. The only real issue with it is a small tear up here that drops it down to what it was. But yeah, I'm very glad to have this back in my collection. Like I said, I instantly regretted selling it when I did, and to get my same copy back is just, yeah. And then the last full market value book, this is close. It ties with some books. It might be my most valuable book in my collection. It kind of fluctuates. But when I bought this, it was worth less than half what it's worth now. This is a book I followed for a very, very long time. The price was stagnant at the same price for about a year. And then I saw things rumbling, so I decided to grab it while I could, and I'm glad I did. Because I would never have it now otherwise. Edge of SpiderVerse number 2, the Greg Land variant, and a 9.6. Yeah, like I said, this book has gone to crazy prices since I picked it up. But not a cheap book by any means, even when I picked it up. I think it's still my favorite book I picked up this year, even when I factor in the Clone Wars I picked up. This character just means more to me, personally, and yeah. This is the, I guess, #1 full market value book I picked up this year, but probably the #1 overall book I added to my collection this year. And yeah, those are my top 5s. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm doing a small little giveaway. Not any real requirement. I ask that you subscribe to me just because I want to have an idea who I'm sending it to. I don't want to send it to some stranger I've never heard of before. But other than that, just leave a comment saying you want to be entered, and in probably 2 weeks' time, I will pick a winner and send out some stuff to you. Like I said, small giveaway. But I'm going to send this Leia figure and one of my AHSOKA pins. All you gotta do is say you want to be entered, and I'll pick one in about 2 weeks' time. So watch your comments for my reply. I'll probably ask to connect with you through Instagram if you have that. If not, we'll work something out, maybe email. But yeah, just a simple little giveaway for the end of the year, going into the new year. So that's everything. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope it was a good year for you in at least one sense of the word. Like I said, really good year for collecting for me, but rough overall. So that's everything. Take care, everyone.